Hello and welcome to a new series of Chatty Sparkly running videos. We've had a bit of a break, haven't we, Colin?
Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks, yeah. We have been on holiday and I was very disappointed because I normally like filming on holiday, but
It's
it was
windy
too
all week, wasn't it?
windy. Yeah. But we're back.
And in those 4 weeks, we've managed to maintain our body
yes,
weight
I'm trying to
nicely.
hold
So
everything
there's hopefully over the series, they'll see us turn into more sylph-like.
Okay, right. That's our challenge, is it?
Well done. Well.
Okay, so we're going to start this new series with a question from me.
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah, okay. What is better, Colin? Running for distance or running for time?
Well, let's. What I want to do with the new series is I don't want to tell people what's best. I just want to put some ideas out there.
Okay, well let's rephrase that
and
then.
let people decide what works for them.
What are the advantages of running for distance or for time?
Yeah,
Should we phrase it like that?
Yeah, if you run for, well, first of all,
Should we start with running for distance? 'Cause
yeah,
I
running
think
for
a lot of
distance.
people
Yeah,
do
a
that.
lot of fast runners will run for distance, and have sort of set routes. So I used to have like an 8-mile route and a 6-mile route, and I'd run them pretty consistently. So you know, you might be running the same routes every week.
Different distances, but yeah, different routes.
But you know, so you'd have an 8-mile loop and a 6-mile loop, or perhaps a 4-mile jog, and a lot of people do that. And running groups, quite often, they might have their session might be an hour long, but they might sort of separate the groups by saying, oh, this is the 4-mile group or the 8k group or whatever.
So it's a useful way to divide up groups, isn't it, for different distances?
Yeah, I think so.
Useful
And,
to do that.
then they can go, we're the 10-minute a mile group or whatever, and we're going to do 5 miles. So you know exactly what you've got to do. So it's very easy for people to do.
Okay,
I think
that's point number one.
Yeah.
Give me another advantage then for running for distance, because a lot of people do it.
Yeah, I think because running apps work. I don't know. People have to tell me, but I think running apps work in distance, don't they? So I think you probably can find out your weekly time that you've run 6 hours or something. But actually, what people look at is how many kilometres or how many miles they've run, and the graphs, the graphs on Strava or whatever, they show you how many miles a week you've done. And of course,
and sometimes the watch clicks over, doesn't it? You've just done a kilometre or you've just done a mile.
Yeah, I think just purely practical, it's easier to count how many kilometres you've done in a week than it is how many hours and minutes, because you have to work 60 minutes in an hour, and it's harder to add up your time than it is I've done 6 kilometres and 8 kilometres or 4 kilometres. So this week I've done 25 kilometres, but actually I've done 4 hours 50 of running.
Okay,
So
I've
it
got
seems to
another
be,
one. Yeah? Well, race distances are in
Oh, of course, yeah.
distance, aren't they? Miles?
Yeah, so if you're running, if you're aiming,
Kilometres?
if you're aiming for a marathon, you know you've got to do 26 miles. So therefore, you might do 8 miles, because you can sort of put that in perspective.
Yeah, it helps you to put.
It's just
Yeah,
you're just
the
under a
race
quarter
distances
of
in
your race
perspective.
distance. Yeah.
That does have disadvantages as well, though.
Yeah,
doesn't
we
it?
come
But
back
we'll
to
come
those,
back
but
to that
yeah.
in a minute. So I've remembered the next one now.
Okay.
Yeah. Most training plans that you download off the internet or you buy are in miles, aren't they?
Yeah,
They
and
tell
there's
you
a
to do a set number of miles or kilometres.
There's a reason for that, because historically training plans have been done in miles, because they've been done for only elite runners would have a training plan.
Yeah.
So what would happen is
There were only elite runners originally,
so they would be 8 miles today and 6 miles tomorrow, and that is done. But today, that's still kept. And whether that's a good idea or not, well, that's a discussion point, isn't it?
Okay. So there are advantages to running for distance, and I wonder how many people out there actually do run for distance. That would be really.
I don't know. I'm thinking.
I think lots of people do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
more
like
than
to
half,
say.
less than half. I
Yeah,
don't
let us know.
Yeah.
Are you a
Yeah, I
distance
don't know,
person or a
because
time?
I work with people that run for time.
Yeah, so we should
I'm
say
a bit
that.
biased. Yeah, I'm
We
a bit
should
biased.
actually put our point of view that we run for
time. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so why?
So-
Why do we run for time?
Well, number one is when you're training, especially when you're beginning your training and you're doing this, the base part of the program, or you're beginning running, it's very important to get away from what we call a performance mindset. So in other words, you don't want to be measuring yourself, because the speed you run at is not important. It's how much you do that's important.
I think that's true for anybody, not just beginners.
Yeah,
isn't it?
so I find that if people have a set number of miles to do, two things happen. They want to do it quickly, because they want, I've got 4 miles.
They want to beat their time.
And that's the second thing, is they want to beat their previous time on the course. So they'll have a course, and almost every week they're forced progress because they want to do a little bit quicker.
And I think that's true for anybody that does that.
Yeah, and me,
well,
particularly. I'd hold my hand up. Yeah,
yeah,
that's yeah. When I did that, that's one of the reasons why I don't do it. I run for time, so
just takes that pressure off.
Yeah, so it's not. It gets you out of that performance mindset. So the second thing is, apart from it gets you away from the performance base, is that your body, the physiology of your body, works on time, not distance.
And I think this is the most important.
The adaptations that happen to your body happen by the amount of time you're running, not by the speed you're running at. So actually you're working with your physiology. And of course these days there's such a wide range of people running, from runners that run 5.5 minutes per mile for gentle running, and that's a few of them, but then other people doing 15 minutes a mile. So you can compare both of them if you look for time, but you can't get anywhere near comparing them if you look at the distance they're running. I
think you've got to get over that mindset that distance is the most important, that you've got to run the distance, you've got to be able to run the distance to do the race. And I think that tends to keep people on the side of running for
Okay, I can understand that. Yeah,
but you need to make the point that if running, say 10k, is going to take you 2 hours or 1.5 hours.
That's like a marathon for other people.
Like a half marathon for other people.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's about the stimulus, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
so
time gives you the right stimulus. Distance could overtrain you if you are a slower runner like me.
I can give a really good example of that. So if you're an elite male marathon runner, you're going to do 2 hours 10 minutes. You're going to run. You might run out of fuel if you haven't trained properly after an hour and 45, hour and 50 minutes. So that would be after 21 miles.
Yeah.
But if you're a half marathon runner running 2 hours 10 for a half marathon, exactly the same is going to happen after that time, not after the distance. So, you're going to be starting, your glycogen stores might reduce significantly by an hour and 50 minutes, or you might only have done 8 miles by then. But actually the body's working under time, because it's the time that you've done that causes that change to happen. And ultimately it's the time that causes your body to adapt.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think about this is, what's really nice is you go on a run and you just go where you want to go. So I'll just go out for an hour run and I'll go where I want to go, and I'll just follow my nose.
So
even though
as long as you know how long it's going to take
even though I'm only walking this week, I just go out, I fancy going up there, or I fancy going up there, or I fancy going up there. But people think, I might be out for hours. And if you're a beginner doing that, you might be out for hours because you haven't got that ability to judge. But
I think we might have some tips next week for that. If you want to
but I think
switch to time.
You very soon learn how far you can go in an hour.
You do.
And you can get back within a couple of minutes.
And then you'll build up set routes that you can do in an hour.
Yeah.
And there'll be different distances. It doesn't matter.
You said the other thing is, if you just run for time, you can build up your time in smaller increments, wasn't it? Well,
yeah, because I think we're always going on about, when you're building up your chatty running, you've got to do it in small amounts. You only need to do a little bit more. A little bit more to get the stimulus, to get the right adaptations, don't you? Well, that's much easier to do if you're running for time, because you just add 5 minutes on, don't you?
But if
you're running for distance, you don't know what to do.
Yeah,
so people end up adding on a whole kilometre or a whole mile.
Yeah, so if you're going for 2 miles, you think, well, my next step is 3 miles, which is 50% more. But if you're doing your 2 miles in 22 minutes, actually you can add on another 3 minutes, and that's going to be a good step.
Yeah.
It's not going to be overtraining.
Time, if you do it running for time, it's going to give you the right amount of build-up, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that the biggest example of where time is better is in the marathon plans that are by distance, that have 20 or 22 miles on them. And people that are 5 hour plus marathon runners, they're going to be out 4.5 hours. It's just too much for them.
Yeah.
And again, time works really well. But those people can do up to 2.5 hours. Fantastic training stimulus, won't tire them out for the rest of the week. That's what the elite runners do, 2.5 hours. So if you work for time, you're training like the elite do.
Yeah.
If you're
and you will get around the distance, that's the other worry, but we're not going to go down that route here. We've done another video on that.
No, I think I've been trying to be persuasive rather than giving, but that's how I am. So
that's how I am.
Yeah,
so let us know what you think. Do you run for time? Do you run for distance?
And why do you run for time?
Yeah. And if you fancy swapping over and go, have a go. We may have some tips for you next week, I think.
I'm very much run for time.
Yeah,
I don't enjoy running for distance. No. It's that next thing I have to tick off. The next thing, and watches tell you, these Garmin's and everything, they peep at you, don't they, when you've gone through a kilometre or a mile or something, so you know the distance that you're running. So mine doesn't do that.
Let us know what your thoughts are.
My watch doesn't peep at me.
You've turned it off.
I've turned it off.
We shouldn't you want to do mine.
Ding! Oh my god, how many more tings have I got to go?
So Colin, I think you ought to tell everybody that you have set some good intentions.
Yeah, so in this series,
the new series,
we're gonna publish the
video of the week.
The video of the week on the Friday. We might do the outtake of the week, because every week we seem to have an outtake.
We've got some.
We won't tell you what
that
is, but that's
And
not a person inside.
I have started sort of posting something from the archives every Wednesday. I'm going to carry on doing that.
Yeah, so in the midweek Wednesday we'll post something, and this week's Wednesday one, so for next Wednesday it'll be how to run in the heat, because this is the first time in the year that we've actually got our t-shirts on. So, and that was really good.
But if you want to see our outtakes and you want to see the midweek post, please join the Facebook group.
Okay.
Because we will only put the main video on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay, and on the website. Okay.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah. So.
We wait to hear, are you a mileage person, are you a kilometre person, or are you a minute person?
I could do a poll, couldn't I?
You could do a poll.
I could really get into
an
Facebook
unscientific poll.
Okay.
My money is slightly more than half people go by distance.
Is it?
I
reckon more than that.
Do you think? Slightly more than half.
I'm going to have to do a poll.
54%.
Okay, and on that note, we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.